Okay, before we really get into solving anything in the way of probability problems, a couple of things that you really are going to need to know. Certainly, it's easy to slip on the old banana peel and make mistakes if you don't read the problems carefully. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is the biggest mistake that students make is they don't realize what the problem is asking them to solve for. It's not complicated, but just take your time and read the problem that you're trying to solve. Now, what you're going to see is lectures on how to solve problems using Excel or numbers from Apple. And within the slides that you're going to see that you're going to hear some references to manual solutions, and they're in there because these lectures were used by me in teaching a statistics class on ground, and we went over the manual solutions first, and then we got into the automated solutions. But for the purpose of these videos, we're not going to worry about the manual solutions at all. Now, I would ask you to look on the lower left-hand side of the video, and there's a place for you to enter comments or any questions that you might have. If you find it in your heart because you like the slide and you thought you learned something from it, well, fine, then give me a thumbs up. If you think that there are things that are confusing to you and that you need more help on, well, give me a thumbs down and raise the question. Hey, you should have said this, or you should have said that. I don't understand what it is that you're trying to do. And I'll respond to that, and my feelings won't be hurt, because the goal is to put together a presentation that is easy for you to use. Just a reminder that all of the videos that I've produced are on my website, and the address that's shown there is the actual address of the website. And you could go there and you'll find everything that I've posted, and you'll be able to access them anytime that you like. I would ask you to please subscribe to my channel. That way you're going to get all of the new videos as I post them. And then all you really need to do then is to click the button on the lower right-hand side where the arrow is pointing. And then once you do that, as soon as I post new videos, which I try to do on a regular basis, you'll automatically be sent a copy of that. So with that said, we're going to move right on to problems in normal distribution, and in this case, using Excel. This video will illustrate the use of Excel in calculating normal distribution probability problems. There are basically three types of questions that can be asked, that can be solved using the Excel functions, and we will show an illustration of each of them that are similar to the ones that we worked on earlier using the manual formulas. Example 1 deals with questions where the probability being requested is equal to or less than a particular number. In this problem, it's the price of gasoline in the U.S. that is normally distributed at an average or mean of $3.66 per gallon. The standard deviation is 31 cents per gallon, and the question is, what's the probability that the price of gasoline in a particular service station will be $3.16 or less? Underneath the example, you can see how it is to be entered into Excel. So we will now enter this as it's shown above in an empty cell, starting out typing equals. And when we start typing normal distribution, the drop-down menu gives us a number of choices where we'll select normal distribution. First, we're going to enter X, which in this case is $3.16, followed by a comma, the mean, 366, as shown, another comma, standard deviation, 0.31, and then lastly, whether we want a cumulative or an individual number. In this case, it's cumulative, and so we will enter true. Once we have completed that and we hit enter, Excel returns 0.05338,277. This could also be expressed as 5.34%. If you compare this answer to the answer we got on the same problem using the manual formula, you will find it's a few points difference. And that's due to rounding and the fact that we use tables to come up with the numbers, where Excel gives you the exact number. But either the manual solution or the Excel solution works fine and is accurate enough to be used in any calculation. The second type of problem that we would use this for is where the numbers in question are between two numbers. We're looking for a probability, in this case, of gasoline selling for between $3.30 and $3.40 per gallon. You can see the way that we're going to do this is to combine our Excel functions, so we're doing it all in one step. So again, we will pick an empty cell and start typing normal distribution. The drop-down menu will come up again. We'll click on it and we will now start entering the information. The trick here is always start with the larger number. In this case, it would be $3.40, followed by the mean, 366, followed by a standard deviation, 0.31, followed by true to say that we want the cumulative number. Then we would then enter on the other side of the parentheses a minus sign, and now we would re-enter normal distribution. Again, we will ask for the variables. In this case, the lower number is going to be $3.30. Standard, or the mean, as the second number of 366, followed by the standard deviation of 0.31, and again, true. Make sure that you close the parentheses and that there's a comma between each entry. When we hit enter, we now see that we're getting, Excel is returning 0.0780542, which could also be expressed as 7.81%. So now we have looked at when we're looking for the probability of a number or less. We're looking for the probability of something occurring between two numbers. And the last example deals where we're looking for a number that is greater than a particular number. And again, you can see how the Excel function is to be entered. In this case, we are looking for the probability of Excel being greater than $3.40 per gallon. So now we're going to have to subtract the probability of it being 340 or less from the 100% possibility. The difference is going to be the number that we're looking for. So we will type in equal 1 minus, and then start typing normal distribution. Once we hit the parenthesis sign, it will then give us the drop-down menu asking for the variables. 3.4 is the number we're being asked about. The mean on all of these is 366. Standard deviation is 0.31. And we're again going to say true. When we close the parentheses and hit enter, we get 0.79918. That would also could be rounded to 79.92%. A very high percentage in this case, but the correct answer. It's important to also recognize that there is a direct relationship between z-score, which was explained in the text, and probability. We looked at the use of the table when we had a z-score to find the corresponding probability. If we know the probability, we could also find that on one of the tables, as we did earlier, and use that to determine what the z-score is. Two situations. The first function in Excel is norm SDIST. And what that will do is it'll enable you to enter a z-score, and it'll return for you the probability that is associated with that z-score. Let's take a really popular one, 1.96. And let's type in equal, and then start typing norm SDIST. You'll see it in the drop-down menu. What it's asking us for is a z-score. And I'm going to enter 1.96. When I hit enter, it returns 0.97500021. It is the z-score that exists at 97.5%, also one that's very popular. The inverse of that function is where we have the probability and we want to know what the z-score is. For this one, let's just enter the probability of 0.975 and see if we can get it to return 1.96. So we'll type equal, and this time we're going to use norm SINV. We're going to highlight it, and we're going to enter 0.9750. And when we hit enter, you see that Excel returns 1.95996398, which will round to 1.96. Here again, let me remind you that the answers that we got in the examples above were very close to those that we got when we used the manual formula. But remember that when we're using the tables, we are seeing some rounding errors occur. The tables are fine for solving problems because the rounding errors are small enough not to really affect probability. But just recognize that they are there, and that when you're working the same problem in Excel, you're going to usually get a slightly different number. So if you put together this instructional video with the keynotes and the text that's in the chapter, you should be in a position to solve any problems in normal distribution probability.
Thanks for watching this instructional video. And you'll notice I called it lecture/instructional video, because instead of just being straight instructions, there's a lecture along with it that will help you to gain more knowledge of the subject. All of the videos, by the way, that are on my website. And the address of the website is shown on this slide right now. And also, I invite you to please enter any comments or questions you had about the video in the area below the screen. And what's most important to me anyways is to have you subscribe to my channel in order to get copies of new videos as I post them. To do this, you'll need a Google email address, and if you don't have one, YouTube should walk you through what you need to do to get one if you don't already have one that you use. Certainly, in addition to anything else, your input is going to help me to improve the stuff I'm presenting. So any comments that you have will be appreciated. A thumbs up is what I would hope for, but if there are things that you think need improvement, give me a thumbs down and tell me what it is that I need to do to make these videos mean more for you. Thanks again for watching.